A date has been set for Parliament to debate whether or not to call another general election. After almost 3 million people signed this petition here calling on a general election, the date's been set for the 6th of January next year. But what impact can this really have? Who was it that allowed this debate to go ahead? And what can we expect from that debate itself? But before we get to that, if you would do me the kind favour of subscribing to my channel, it is free, but I depend on you, the viewer, to subscribe to help grow my channel, because I don't have the deep pockets of the media out there. I am but an individual hoping to cover the news and the law objectively on this channel for you. So please do subscribe and I'll be very grateful. So let's take a look at what can really happen with this petition and who it was that allowed this to go ahead. So, as I say, there were almost 3 million people that have signed this petition. Now, ordinarily, these petitions will have a response from government if there's been at least 10,000 signatures on it, and they'll be put forward for a debate if they reach 100,000 signatures. However, it's not quite as straightforward as that, because they may not debate on an issue. I believe it's the petitions committee that decides whether or not to put forward a petition for debate, and then we need to take a closer look at who is on that committee. And that's where it gets quite interesting, because there are currently 11 members of this committee, 7 of whom are with Labour. So I don't know whether this works on a majority, whether they just discuss it, or whether anybody has a veto or what. But between them, this committee has decided that this is going forward for a debate, and they are going to have this debate in Parliament. However, what impact can it really have? Well, judging by previous petitions that have been debated, such as cancelling the Brexit arrangement, didn't actually achieve anything. They had a big debate and all of the issues were aired quite robustly, but ultimately nothing else happened and we went ahead with Brexit, such as it was. But nonetheless, those debates did happen and they can air their views, and so lots of people will feel vindicated that they've had their say through their local MP in Parliament, putting their views forward, because after all, quite a lot of people, almost 3 million people, have aired their view by signing this petition to say that they want to call another general election, signifying that they're not happy with the current government. And dare I say it, a lot of people probably aren't, because a lot of people probably didn't vote for this current government and not happy with what's happening. But then, of course, we come to what can we really expect to happen at this debate? Well, I expect that there's going to be lots of toing and froing about what's happened over the last 5 months or whatever it is, and all of the things that people say have gone wrong. The claims of two-tier policing, the claims of two-tier justice, the claims, well, not claims, the reality of prisoners being released early and the impact that that has had. Those prisoners thanking Keir Starmer for being released early and Keir Starmer getting angry at the fact that they've been released. I don't see how he can expect any other reaction other than the prisoners being happy for being released early and showing their gratitude as they left prison in luxury cars. Keir Starmer obviously wasn't happy about that. I expect that all of these sort of things will be thrown back and forth across Parliament, and hopefully all of the key issues such as immigration, the statistics that they seem to be holding back on. I do expect that we'll hear Keir Starmer talking about the £22 billion black hole once again, although perhaps this time they'll be pressed for a little bit more detail, because last time it wasn't forthcoming. And so without being too cynical and pessimistic, I don't really expect any more than performative gestures back and forth across Parliament, airing the disgruntlement of constituents through their local MPs and everything that they are unhappy with this current government thus far. And if any of the recent questions are anything to go by, I don't expect we'll get any real answers to those questions. Because as I've aired quite strongly in my recent videos, questions are very often not met with a straight answer. Much less than a straight answer, in fact, they are often met, in my view, with a speech on the point that they wish to make, which has no real bearing on the question at all, other than being in the same wheelhouse as the original question, but making a political point that they wish to make without actually addressing the question. Or, as Rupert Lowe just recently said when he asked for statistics on the crimes committed by illegal migrants to this country, the answer was that there was lots of information to drop that week. Although when that information did drop, the statistics Rupert Lowe was after was not in it, which begged the question whether she was misleading Parliament by indicating that that information might be incorporated within the release of that information that week, which ultimately it wasn't. However, the last interesting point that I'll leave you with is this map here, which shows concentrations of the signatories to that petition. some of which show some razor-thin majorities by Labour, which could put Labour in quite a bit of difficulty with some nasty shocks and surprises in the next by-election. So as I've said previously, if you're unhappy about anything that's going on in the country right now, you might think about getting yourself registered to vote in the next general election, which may not be for some years, despite almost 3 million people voting that it should happen sooner. But if you found any of this useful, please do like the video and subscribe, and as always, thank you for watching.